Hey guys, welcome back to Politics Gaming. I'm Sikef Godavanti for those who don't know who I am, and today we'll be doing our 2022 governor's predictions. Currently there are 27 Republican governors and 23 Democratic governors. 2022 will be an interesting year because usually the odds are stacked against the Democratic Party, and it's possible that Donald Trump broke 2018 midterm norms where his party gained seats in the Senate but lost in the House, and I think it's possible Democrats have a very similar situation. Plus, they do have a favorable Senate map, which I already covered in a previous video. You can check it out if you want. But today we'll be covering our 2022 governor's races. So we have 38 governorships up for grabs here, and this will be very contested. So let's start with New Jersey and Virginia. They don't elect their governors in midterm years, unlike my state selecting its governor this year, like whether we're voting on whether to re-elect Murphy or elect Jack Ciattarelli for a governor, or in Virginia's governor, Ralph Northam, is term limited, so Jim McAuliffe or Glenn Youngkin will replace him. We'll see about that. But for right now, I think New Jersey would be likely D because Ciattarelli is polling well, and although many polls show him like down by 20, but it's not likely that he'll win by 20. Plus, there is some Republican anger at Murphy's handling of the COVID virus in New Jersey, which particularly has hit the state hard, like in terms of deaths and from the number of cases. Virginia, I'll put that in the lean D. I know a lot of you guys are going to scream, and I know if you watch LTE, a lot of people say he's going to win by at least 10. But personally, in my humble opinion, I do think Virginia would be lean D because if you look at a lot of the polling, Glenn Youngkin's actually polling pretty well, considerably, even though he's backed by Trump. But I think if Glenn Youngkin wants to have a chance, I think he should still be using Trumpian rhetoric, but I don't think he should be like full on Trump. Like if you put like a Ron DeSantis in Virginia, he would be murdered by Terry McAuliffe. But Glenn Youngkin, I think, is a great candidate, and Terry McAuliffe is your Virginia Democrat, establishment Democrat. But I do see Terry McAuliffe winning probably by about 5 to 6%, because this year is very crucial in determining how the midterms will play out next year. So those are out of the way. So we have 7 Republican governors to 7 Democratic governors. So the safe Democratic holds Oregon. Kate Brown is term limited, but I think her successor, a Democrat, will be elected by a safe margin. California, I know about the Gavin Newsom recall. It's potential, it's happening, but if a Democrat runs here, I think Newsom might be primary next year, but whoever wins the primary is assured to win California. The Republican Party's become like a third party in California. New York, I see a similar situation with Andrew Cuomo with his sex scandals and his nursing home scandal, which has angered many New Yorkers. I mean, Andrew Giuliani is running in this race, but New York has gotten a lot more Democratic than it did 27 years ago, so it's very unlikely that Cuomo would be unseated by a Republican and think he would be primaried out, and whoever wins the primary will win by at least by 17%. It's New York. It's gotten a lot more blue. So is New Jersey. A lot of the Northeast has gotten pretty blue, especially after Reagan. And Hawaii. I think there were reports that Tulsi Gabbard might run for governor. I think I mentioned that last night in last night's video. If she does, I think she would do pretty well in Hawaii, considering how respected and liked she is. Jared Polis. I think Jared Polis is going to win by a safe margin this time around. Colorado has been accelerating its blue trend, and I don't see that pausing. I think since it's a midterm year, it has the headwinds, so Colorado could be likely, but for now we'll put it as safe, because I don't see really any viable Republican challenger, at least to my knowledge. If you guys know who is challenging Jared Polis and good, please let me know down below. Anyway, so those are our safe states for the Democrats. The Republicans, Idaho, Actually, probably not South Dakota. I think Nebraska. Oh my gosh, guys, sorry. Arkansas. Sarah Huckabee Sanders will easily win. Bill Lee. Massachusetts. Charlie Baker. I think he's going to run for a third term. He's super popular. He's not going to lose. So is Phil Scott. He's not going to run for U.S. Senate, which is probably, you could say, missed opportunity, but it is what it is. Federal races are not the same as state and local races. And I think that's all I see for Republicans. Oh, Oklahoma is a safe state. Now onto the likely Republican states. South Dakota, I do see that being a likely margin of victory. Kristi Noem, she only won by 3 in 2018, which was actually kind of surprising, but now with higher energy on the GOP, and plus South Dakota is a very, very Republican state. It's like an R+30 state, but Kristi Noem has mixed bag approval. Like, well, she's approved of in the state, but it really depends on who you're asking. Hardcore Trumpians like her, but a lot of people I know, I don't know really anyone from South Dakota, but I think she's going to win by a likely margin. I think Iowa, Kim Reynolds is going to win by a likely margin as well. Like, I think Rob Sand might run for governor, so I think that Rob Sand could actually make it competitive. So, sorry guys. I had my mom called me, so I had to do something for her. So I just finished it, and yeah, we're back. Sorry guys that the video is getting cut. So South Dakota, I think that would be a likely Republican state. I also think South Carolina will be likely Republican. I know that Joe Cunningham's running, and he would be a great candidate, but right now, Joe Cunningham, this is South Carolina. It's a pretty conservative state in terms of its politics, so politics plays a role here. So, I mean, Henry McMaster, I've heard, is unpopular, but just because he's unpopular doesn't mean that he's going to lose, especially in a state like South Carolina. I mean, if his approval is like 20%, then probably he's going to lose, but his approval is not 20%. So, yeah, and I see Florida also being a likely Republican state. I know some people are saying 3 or 4, but I don't think we should be underestimating DeSantis. He's very popular in his home state. I mean, at least amongst Republicans, but there are some Democrats who do approve of DeSantis, and when you got crossover support, that is actually pretty good for you. So, at the end of the day, I do see. Sorry, guys. Excuse me. So, at the end of the day, I do see Ron DeSantis winning by a likely margin, and I also think Texas is a likely margin of victory for Greg Abbott. I think he's not going to win by 12. I think he's going to win by like 7, and plus, Beto O'Rourke is more likely to run for governor. So, I think it's going to be like a 7-point victory, but I think Beto should backtrack on his "I'll take your guns away" statement, and I think he's going to be fine. New Mexico, I think Michigan likely Dem states. Michelle Lujan Grissom, I don't think she's bad as a candidate. She won by a safe margin, but I don't think the Republican nominee was good. But if Republicans could field a good candidate, it would be likely. But I think it's going to be a likely state because it was a likely state for Biden back in 2020. Rhode Island. Rhode Island actually is a new governor. Well, Gina Raimondo was the governor, but then she resigned due to being Secretary of Commerce. So her lieutenant, Daniel McKee, is now governor. So because Daniel McKee is now facing the voters for the first time, I think Rhode Island does elect their lieutenant separately, so some people may be familiar with him, but he's wielding executive power in Rhode Island. So I definitely could see Rhode Island being likely margin. And Maine, I think it's going to be likely because I know Paul LePage is running. He was the former governor of Maine. Maine does not allow governors to run for more than 2 consecutive terms, but there's no limit to the number of terms they run. So, and plus Paul LePage is actually kind of unpopular for trying to roll back the ranked choice voting system. So because of that, I think he's going to be defeated by like a likely margin. In Minnesota, I do see Tim Walz winning by a likely margin. as well, and Illinois, where I see J.B. Pritzker winning by a likely margin. I thought if Adam Kinzinger runs, it would be very competitive. The lean R states. I think Ohio is lean R. The reason why I think Ohio is lean R because Mike DeWine, he is actually losing up for the primary to Jim Renacci. He's actually losing. And he's losing pretty bad, so that is actually not good concerning if you're the incumbent. Plus, I do not think Jim Renacci would be a strong candidate. I think maybe for governor, I think he'd be a strong candidate, but I'm not sure if he's the best. Plus, John Cranley, if he's nominated, I think Mike DeWine will win by lean due to the power factor of the incumbency. In Iowa, I think it's going to be lean. Iowa is a very crazy state. It has insane swings. It went to Trump by 8, and then elected Democrats as they elected Kim Reynolds in 2018. And plus, Rob Sanders actually might run for governor. So we'll see how it develops. Oops, not Arizona. What am I doing? Sorry, guys. I think Alaska would be a lean margin. Mike Dunleavy is actually pretty unpopular, and I think they're even trying to recall the guy, but I don't know if it's going to work or not. If I lean red-blue states, I think Nevada will be a lean blue state. I think Steve Sisolak is going to win the governor's race in Nevada. Republicans are having trouble winning the governor's race in Nevada pretty recently. So I do see Steve Sisolak holding on. Connecticut, Ned Lamont is unpopular, but once again, it's Connecticut, and Richard Blumenthal's on the ballot. So I think Richard Blumenthal could help Ned Lamont and pull over the victory. In Maryland, I think this is the first flip of the night for the Democrats. I think it's lean D because there are some pretty good Democratic candidates, but I think Boyd Rutherford would have been a great candidate for the GOP, but I think Maryland will flip back to the Democrats. But I think because of no incumbent, it could be competitive. I do see Kansas being lean D as well because I know a lot of people are putting Kansas as lean R flip, but Laura Kelly isn't unpopular in Kansas. Plus, she's worked across the aisle and on a lot of issues, so I think Kansans are going to like her for that. And Wisconsin, I do see that being a lean margin as well. Wisconsin and Michigan, I do see that as lean for the Democrat candidates there. Tony Evers, I think he's going to win by more than what he did in 2018 because of Scott Walker, who was the incumbent. And in Michigan, Gretchen Whitmer has been facing very harsh poll numbers. I think she's losing by 7 to James Craig. But again, I think the incumbency factor will help her across the finish line. But I'm not sure. But if there are new developments in the race, I could change the rating. But for right now, I will put Michigan in the lean D. Lean R states. Lean tilt R. I do think Georgia, that it's going to be tilt R because while Brian Kemp, he's actually getting very unpopular and Trump can't oust him, but I think Trump in retaliation will not tell his base not to come out for Kemp. That will really hurt him. Plus, Stacey Abrams will have more of the energy than she did in 2018 in Georgia. But I think incumbency will help Brian Kemp. Similarly, I do think New Hampshire will be tilt R because, I think Chris Sununu may run for Senate. It's probably pretty likely at this point. So, if he doesn't run, I will change it to safe R. But right now, assuming that he's running, I think it'll be tilt R. But it's very possible Democrats could win. And the tilt D states, I do see Arizona. Republicans are having a tough time. Their party's literally breaking up in Arizona. The Democratic Party is very well organized in Arizona, so I could see that being a flip. And I think they will hold on to Pennsylvania because Josh Shapiro is poised to run, and I think he's a great candidate. So without the incumbency factor, I think it will significantly narrow. Anyways, that is my governor's predictions. 25 Republicans to 25 Democrats. Let me know what you guys think about my ratings. If you disagree, please let me know in the comments, and please be respectful to each other. This is a forum. Comments are a forum where we can debate. not where we curse at each other and ridicule each other. Anyway, guys, I will see you in the next video. Have a great day.